SUI is the talk of the town, with lots of speculation out there as to whether or not SUI is going to be the Solana killer. With mass adoption on the way in the 2025 bullish market, SUI is going to be one of those key contenders. So I thought I'd spend some time today by sharing my thoughts and opinions on where I think the price action is heading for SUI in 2025. This is going to be my 2025 price prediction for SUI. Guys, as I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with SUI. So in order for us to truly understand the potential of SUI, we need to ascertain a couple of key things. We need to know where SUI came from, where it's been in the most recent price history, and what kind of potential that lies in the future. For this, we are going to look at a couple of things. We're going to use a couple of tools to help us understand the potential for SUI. So the first thing that we're going to use is going to be a Fibonacci retracement and extension tool, this one just here on the chart. This is a pretty common tool. It's embedded into TradingView and various other charting platforms. It basically tracks people's kind of behavior based on certain levels within the Fibonacci sequencing. You can go into a lot of detail on it, but I'm going to kind of keep it nice and simple in today's video when we talk about the Fibonacci levels. The next thing that we're going to use is going to be price action analysis. So we're not going to rely heavily on indicators. Indicators are ultimately laggy. They only show you what's already happened and not really that predictive in where things could potentially be going. Instead, we'll use a few different tools at our disposal. I'm going to be mainly focusing in on Elliott Wave. Elliott Wave is a fantastic price analysis tool that embeds sentiment. It embeds people's behaviors directly into how to read the chart. It's a complex subject, which is why I did put together a whole course on Elliott Wave. So if you are intrigued and want to learn a little bit more about Elliott Wave, check out the link in the description down below. And yeah, take a look at the course what I put together. It's quite intensive. It will cover quite a few complex subjects, but it's well worth understanding in my humble opinion. Okay, so let's go ahead and kick things off by taking a look at this large wick right here. I say wick, this large candle, this god candle, if you will, just over here on the price chart. This is the earliest candle that I have on this particular chart. This is SUI paired up with USDT on the one-day Binance chart. This is the 3rd of May 2023. Okay, so in order for us to kind of get a good idea as to kind of is that the beginning of everything or whether there was anything more, we're going to come over here and we're going to have a look and see if any of these other smaller exchanges, smaller than Binance, typically do actually incorporate some of these tokens earlier than Binance does. So for that, we're going to go to two that I kind of keep an eye on, which usually are the first to list these kind of things. KuCoin, and here you can see that our first piece of data is the 4th of May, so not necessarily, sorry, the 3rd of May, I think it is. So it's not the most accurate. So we'll go ahead and I'll say the one with the most amount of data. So we'll come back to our chart here. And we'll also take a look at Gate.io. Gate.io historically is one of those that comes in very early, and you can see very different data here, but it is still the 3rd of May. Okay, so we'll have a look and see if there's anything else in here. MEXC is another one that might have listed earlier. It did not. So again, what we'll do is we'll just probably have to use, I think in this case, Binance, because it is the biggest exchange in the world. And so we should use the one with the most amount of data in terms of like volume and things like that. Okay, so we know that our launch date, actually, we've got the dinosaur on here anyway. You can see this is the beginning of time, if you will, for SUI on this chart. Okay, so we have a big move to the upside. This move to the upside for SUI was a pretty interesting one, right? It comes in from the low up to that high. As you can kind of see, let me just come in and zoom in on that candle once again so you guys can see. It was a 1,900% move from 10 cents at launch, by the looks of it, up to the $2 level. Okay, so we hit the $2 level. Then from there, we start to see significant cooling off. So 1,900% to the upside. We then cool off. We see a big drop in the kind of what you would expect after a launch, to be fair, liquidity being extracted. It's 81.9%. From that low of October 2023, we start to see some pretty good progression to the upside on this chart. So what's the hope and what is the kind of conservative targets, right? So knowing the kind of structures that we see here, we have a bear market low point, which was pretty much consistent across most of the altcoins. Okay, so most of the altcoins did bottom out in October 2023. A few of them, of course, were much earlier in kind of November 2022, we saw, and June 2022, we saw a few altcoins bottoming out. But for the most part, the majority of them were October 2023. Okay, this is important because it means that this is the low, the anchor point where we're not likely to see any drops lower. That was 36.43 cents. We obviously did see another move to the downside on August the 5th, I believe it was, August the 5th. We did see a move to the downside and it found great support in this range. This was 46.25 cents. Okay, now obviously this is all talking about what's already happened, not talking about 2025 in the slightest yet, right? This is just really kind of a precursor to kind of where things are going, because in order for us to predict out where SUI could go in 2025, we obviously have to understand where things have been and whether or not we've actually found local bottoms. And failure to do that will basically set yourself up for failure. So this is kind of, a little bit of a boring kind of stuff that we have to do. This is kind of the stuff that's very important that we do it though. And if we go ahead and just take a look at this particular range right here, so this is a previous area of support that we came down a couple of times and then it turned it into a bit of resistance. This is currently basically where that 5th of August low came into. Since then, we've seen a good run to the upside. This is a really nice run to the upside as well. So kind of going back to kind of everything that we've been talking about so far, we have found a local bottom in October 2023. So that's our bear market low point. Even though technically this move to the upside, the launch was a bear market, but still bear market low October 2023. We have the low coming down here on the 5th of August at 46.25, right? Now, why is all this important? Well, the conservative, if we take our fib charts here, okay, we can see that we've started to push up just above the previous swing highs, but the conservative targets are going to be in line with Elliott wave, which relates directly to the Fibonacci levels as well. Okay, so here we can see that our typical kind of 1 to 1 to 1.236 levels for SUI would be right inside this sweet spot. This would basically be your kind of my minimum expectations for 2025. Okay, so basically $2.77 to $4.22, which of course from its current price today is only 33% up to about 105%, right? So it's really not that impressive. But there's a caveat to this, is that this would just be a simple three-wave pattern if this is the case, right? And I don't think that's going to be the case for SUI. I think SUI has the potential to do something different. Okay, so in here we can see we have a really good run to the upside at the moment. We are on the verge of a correction, okay, at the point of recording. It's kind of irrelevant to this video subject, but we are on the verge of a correction at the moment. In here, we can see that we do have a really nice run to the upside. This run to the upside has moved up quite nicely. We're above the 1.236 at this point in time, and we are looking for a bit of a correction and then another run to the upside. And we are going to be looking for $3.07. Okay, approximately. In fact, it's going to be a little bit more accurate than that. If we zoom in down here, we can find this exact low. We can actually see that that was going to be more 309.4 to kind of complete out that next kind of 1.618 structure. Now, it's really important that we hit that level, because the structure that I see going on here is that we have a wave 1, a wave 2. We'll look for this wave 3 at $3.09.4. down for 4 and up into 5, meaning that we have this kind of potential to breach a little bit higher. And if we do this, then it actually means that we are likely to see even further gains to the upside at a slightly later date. Okay, now if we take a look at everything that was going on from that initial launch and we take that into consideration, considering where the price has been historically, and we go ahead and move this over to our October low, which was 36.43 cents, so 36.43. Let's see if I can get this on the nose of that one as well. So if I zoom in, we'll be able to take a look at SUI here at basically that wick low. It's actually a little bit lower. I can see it's this one here coming in at 36.2. So I'm going to go ahead and take that and snap it to there, and then we're going to go ahead and basically make this 36.2. Okay, this is really important, of course, because we need to make sure that we have the Fibonacci sequencing set to the actual levels. And this shows a really kind of nice bullish target high coming in a lot higher than the conservative range. Okay, so this one here would actually give us the idea that we have the potential for a breakout more towards $7.67 to $15.76. Okay, now from the current pricing at the point of recording today's video, that puts us at around a 268 to around the 666 percent level, right? So pretty reasonable. But of course, really coming in from those lows that we had in October, we would actually be talking about a bull market really being about 2,000 to 4,000%. Okay, and that is more in line with what your expectations should be, at least in my opinion, when it comes to bullish targets. So we are tracking quite nicely here. Obviously, the conservative targets are there. Okay, $2.76 to $4.23. Key level being $3.09.4. That's going to be a key area for a bigger impulsive move to the upside. And of course, I'm looking for bull market target highs, really kind of talking about, you know, $7.67 to $15.76 when it comes to SUI. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation in this, but there's a lot of sentiment that's coming in here from the behaviors of the buyers and the sellers, the Elliott wave theory, the Fibonacci levels. These are all key things. And of course, we can see several key areas as well on the Fibonacci sequencing as we kind of get into that detail. So for the most part, I think SUI has a lot of potential. There's a lot going on for SUI right now. There's a lot of speculation as to whether or not it's going to be a serious contender to Solana. Are we going to see Solana investors rolling out of Sol into SUI? These are the things that we have to kind of think about. And what does that mean? Are we going to be actually targeting out $7 to $15 in the longer term? That is potentially the prize here when it comes to SUI. Now, you can let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below where you sit when it comes to the price action of SUI. Are you as bullish as kind of $7 to $15, or are you more conservative, looking for just $2 to $4? Let me know in the comments below, or join us in our free Discord server. I'd like to get your thoughts and opinions on that one. And if you have found this video useful and informative, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't done so already, click this video right here. It's not one that you're going to want to miss.